like one of the things I like about his show is there's like an AA quality of it. Is it like you hear the stories of people who have fucked it up way worse than you ever would, yet came out of it. And then there's people who were where you were a few months ago. I mean, I know you do jiu-jitsu. It's kind of like being like a semi-experienced white belt. And when somebody new comes in, it's like you get to feel that there's like different, you recognize where you were and you see where you've gone and you're like, see where, thank God I wasn't at. It's just amazing to me. And it's actually, even as a copywriter, it's made me look really closely at the way people of faith communicate their messages generally. And like what's sticky about those messages. And, and I think for brands, it's an interesting space to look at. Like the whole evangelical entrepreneurial scene is interesting to me because often it's like The Wire. They buy for a nickel, sell for a dime, and it's like real simple businesses. And they're probably mostly fine compared to the bullshit tech shit around here, man.
Do you get the sense that tech is about to get walloped?
Well, I mean, I feel like, their pockets are so deep. I don't think it's going to happen in the next year or two or anything like that. But I think the type of things that people invest in, I don't know, it's hard to say, man. There's so much hubris, like people are like, well, this shit worked for like 20 years. So why isn't it not going to keep working in the future? I think any company that was like in need of a fast round right now is probably going to be in trouble. But I imagine it'll be just like bankers. They'll just keep doing the same thing, like terrible 2008. You get kind of bailed out. You don't learn your lesson. You keep going. You keep doing the same thing.
Well, it's kind of interesting with the way that bailouts have gone. I mean, on some level, the people that still believe in gravity are the ones that look foolish at this point, because it's like you could print all this money, you could give it away. Now we've done $2 trillion. The stock market's still doing well. Like people still have their jobs. And so it starts to be like, maybe we can do anything we want and nothing bad can ever happen.
Well, it's just like, look at the S&P 500. It's not nearly as low as I think it should be. And I'm not an economics guy, but I do know in 2008, some people did some shitty paperwork, and now people are dying in hospitals. Like, what? What? Why isn't it reflecting the seriousness of the situation? I don't know.
So there was a rumor going around for a while that was people are looking to move out of San Francisco so much that it costs $200 to take a U-Haul from Las Vegas to San Francisco, but it costs $2,000 to get one from San Francisco to Las Vegas. I don't know if that's true. Is that your impression?
I mean, I don't know about those numbers, but I can't imagine it's not true because first of all, like there's no place to have a U-Haul place here. So there's probably not that many trucks here. So it's like supply and demand. And, you would have to be like crazy to move here now. Like when I moved to San Francisco, I was basically homeless. I was driving across country on a Vespa with a bunch of my buddies that I worked with at this cafe. And when I came to San Francisco, I had a backpack, like a jean jacket, and a 30-year-old scooter, and I just fell in with people and made a go of it. I don't think you could do that now. Like now, if you're a young person moving here, you probably have a skill set where you're like, okay, my first job out of college, I'm going to make like $85,000 a year, like with no experience, which is crazy to me. And then you're just going to set it all on fire and rent. And the idea is that like within a few years, you'll be up to like 160 and be able to work from home, and then you can move someplace. Like that seems to be what people are into. But I don't know, man. It's such a weird dystopic feeling city. Like it feels. I always would say it reminds me of what I imagine like colonial in India was like. There's like all these like colonialists, and then a sub layer of people who serve them and are disgruntled. Like that's just what it feels like here.
And it was feeling like that before coronavirus?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then I kind of like lived on both sides of it. I was a bartender up until, I don't know, like 10 years ago. I think I still had been a bartender longer than I'd been involved in marketing or whatever. And, I was here during the first .com. I remember I'd be bartending and 40 people would come into the bar. And I'd be like, whoa, what's going on? It's like a total windfall for my quiet ass happy hour, And people would say, well, we all just got laid off. We all just found out we got laid off. And I was like, oh, this is terrifying. And then after a few months, there was none of those parties anymore. But I remember all those dudes would come downstairs. And there's always dudes. They'd be like, well, maybe I'll just bartend. Like, you don't know how to do this. Like, you have no idea what this entails. Like, you're not going to be able to do it. And there's not that many spots for it. So it's weird to see, like, have lived through, like, seeing tech collapse and now seeing, like, service industry collapse. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's weird to be here.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one thing to be like, well, these are the brush fires that happen and then a new forest can grow, but you're like, if you've ever been inside of a forest fire after it's happened, everything's black. And yes, there's green shoots that are coming out, but it is bad.
Well, yeah, it's funny to hear, like, a lot of the people who are a little bit more cavalier about reopening the economy, and I'm definitely probably a little more cavalier than, say, like, Gavin Newsom might be, you know, like I'm kind of more like, let's open it up kind of, but like people are like, just burn it down. It's like, they all think they're going to be the person in the Avengers movie that like just dusts off their shoulder and like rebuilds. But like, you could more than likely be the dude that gets crushed under whatever the Hulk knocked down, you know. It's like, and then like, you don't care about your friends. You don't care about marginal people. I mean, it's, yeah. And then nobody knows. Nobody has any idea. Like, really, every day I read some news story that makes the previous news cycle stories look ridiculous in some way.